Ah, the fine art of seduction. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now for today's video, I'm doing another historical romance recommendation video following a specific trope, and today's trope, it just so happens to be the art of seduction. In the stories that I'm about to recommend you, either our hero or a heroine needs to seduce each other for a benefit, or maybe because our hero or heroine already like each other and they want to spend the rest of their lives with each other. But what happens is that the opposite party needs a little bit more of a convincing and bring them to the light and show them that they could have a happy marriage if they just give each other a chance. So let's get started with some of the recommendations that I do have for you for today. Now, the first book that I want to recommend you is actually this one from Kate Bateman, and this book is called This Earl of Mine, and it's actually book number 1 in her Bow Street Bachelor series. And this one follows our heroine who has a lot of money, but what happens is that someone wants to force her into a loveless marriage so that they can profit off of her money. So she decides that she needs to marry someone of her own choosing, and she decides to marry someone who is going to be sentenced to death very soon so she can have her money and spend it the way that she wants it without having to be trapped in a loveless marriage. So she goes to a prison and she picks out one prisoner who is going to die very soon because of the crimes that they committed, and that's their punishment. And she actually forces him down the aisle, they get married, and then she leaves, thinking that that's a done deal and everything's over, until a few weeks later at an event she sees her supposedly dead husband. And now our hero is back in the story, and our hero actually is very intrigued by our heroine, and throughout the rest of the book our hero actually tries to convince our heroine that they were meant to be with each other even after their very weird beginning. Now, the second book that I want to recommend you is this one that is actually book number 3 in the series called Keeping Up with the Cavendishes, and this is by Maya Rodell. The book is called Lady Claire Is All That. This one follows our female heroine who is actually a mathematician, and she is really smart. She really likes numbers, but the thing is that because she's a woman, she's not being taken seriously, and she just wants to have very intellectual conversations with people who are at the same intellectual level as her and even higher than her. And so she sets out on all these like research trips and these like meetings to discuss numbers and all things great to do with sciences and STEM and also math. And she actually likes this professor who is really smart and who she admires a lot for his work. But what happens is that our hero, who is actually known to be more of a brawn over brain type of person, he is very muscular, he is a fighter, and he likes to box a lot. And so our heroine should never be like anywhere near his social circle, but under certain circumstances they actually meet, and our hero is absolutely intrigued by our heroine. He loves the fact that she's so smart. He loves the fact that she is willing to put herself out there and to do a lot of crazy things. He loves that she is so smart. He loves that she is so passionate about her work. And he's fully supportive of her every step of the way, no matter if society judges her because she's so outspoken about her works, because people doubt her intelligence just because she is a female. And our hero is smitten by her and actually tries to seduce her throughout the whole book because she is in love with the professor, with someone else. So the third book that I want to recommend you is this one from Lisa Kleypas. This one's part of the Ravenel series, and this one's called Devil in Spring. This is book number 3, and Devil in Spring actually follows like one of the offsprings of the original couple from Devil in Winter, and this is kind of Lisa Kleypas's like spin-off. And this is about our heroine who is named Pandora. She is very bright, she's intelligent, she wants to start a very quirky business. I feel like at that time she wants to start a board game business, and she wants to stay at home, focus on her business, and focus on playing board games because that's what she enjoys. She doesn't want to go out into the season, meet all these guys that she has no interest in. But what basically happens is that our hero spends majority of the book trying to get her attention, trying to have her pay more attention to him rather than her board games. And then a marriage of convenience happens and they actually get married, and it's up to him to convince her that they could have a very wonderful marriage if she just gives him a chance. So the fourth book that I want to recommend you is one from Anna Harrington. This is book number 2 in capturing the Carlisle series, and it's called When the Scoundrel Sins. It's a friends to lovers romance, and this book follows our hero and our heroine working together to help her find a husband, because what happened is that she has to marry by the age of 25 or else she's gonna lose all her inheritance. So she really wants to just get the easy way out, which is convincing our hero to marry her, but our hero is like, no way, like we will not be good together, and the reason why we're not good together is because I have my own goals, you have your own goals, and I'm just not going to be the husband that you deserve and that you love. And she spends like majority of the book trying to convince him to really like give it a chance. But then also she is on the marriage mart and she is shopping around for boyfriends basically, and shopping around for someone who's potentially could be her husband. And he has to kind of stand on the side and watch someone who he spent a lot of time with growing up possibly be taken away by a different man. Now, the next book that I want to recommend you is one from Shannon Galen. This one is called An Affair with a Spare, and this is book number 3 in the Survivor series. Now, if you watched my other historical romance recommendation videos, I've talked a lot about book number 1 and also book number 2, but not really book number 3. I want to recommend book number 3 because overall it was an enjoyable read. It was a 3-star read, so it's not like my 5 out of 5 star ratings for the first and the second book. While I like this novel, it's not really like my favorite novel, but this one I still enjoyed, and it follows the trope of seduction. So basically what happens is that our hero used to be a very skilled assassin, and he used to work in the wars, he used to fight for the country, and he is really brilliant and really smart. One of his undercover missions just so happens to capture an assassin, and the way that he can capture this assassin is trying to seduce the assassin's daughter. So there is that thick layer of angst and that betrayal, that cat and mouse trope too as well with this book, where our hero kind of mixes business with pleasure, and he's not really sure of what his true emotions and feelings are. The next book that I want to recommend you is this one from Vivian Lorette. This one I believe is her latest release from 2021, and I read it during a reading vlog and I was very surprised with how much I enjoyed this one. This one is book number 3 in the Mating Habits of Scoundrel series, and it's called The Wrong Marquee. And this one follows our heroine who has been in love with the boy next door for her entire life, and she just wants him to propose to her, and she thinks that this is the season that he will finally build up the courage to propose to her, and she's really excited about it. But the problem is that there's this other guy that's always coming into the picture and always being in her way and always trying to get her attention, and she's just like, come on man, like back off, like leave me alone, I want to focus on the boy next door. And that guy just so happens to be our hero. Our hero met our heroine just for like a brief second, and our hero was completely smitten by her, and he thinks that she is making the biggest mistake by wasting her years and wasting her time on this guy next door who doesn't even give 2 minutes of his time on her, basically. And our hero is trying to convince her throughout the whole book that he is the perfect guy for her. So the next book that I want to recommend you is this one from Tracy Ann Warren. This one is book number 3 in the Byrons of Brayborn series, and this one's called At the Duke's Pleasure. This one I really enjoyed. This one is about our heroine who has been in love with our hero for such a long time. Ever since she was 16, she has been in love with him. But then she stumbles upon this like situation where she overhears his thoughts, and he is actually trying to propose to her and get her hand in marriage, but for just like very plain reasons. He just thinks that she checks off everything off the checklist. Like, you know, she was raised properly, she had a great education, she's good at taking care of the household, she doesn't have any gossip or rumors spreading around her and her title, so she's like the perfect candidate. And our heroine hears this, and it kind of like breaks her heart because she loves him for him, but he is only marrying her out of duty and out of like her being like this perfect candidate and not for herself. So she refuses the marriage, and she turns down the offer, and our hero is like shocked. But then now she's kind of like turned around and she's looking for someone better. And now the rest of the book is our hero trying to figure out what went wrong and trying to understand his own emotions as well, and trying to convince her that he likes her for her and that there's more to marriage than just a perfect wife. Now the next book that I want to recommend you, and also the last book that I want to recommend you, is this one that I've talked about a little bit before in one of my videos. This one's called More or Less a Marchioness, and this is book number 1 in the Somerset Sisters series by Anna Bradley. This one follows kind of like the same trope as the Tracy Ann Warren novel that I just talked about. And this one follows our heroine. She gets a proposed offer and she wants to accept it because it's a great offer. But then what happens is that she is told by someone that, you know, marriage shouldn't just be out of duty. It should have passion. It should have emotions. It should have like X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, our hero proposed to our heroine because he picked the most beautiful girl in the room that was raised right, that has all the bells and whistles. And our heroine suddenly wants more. Our heroine wants that passion, wants those emotions and feelings that come with marriage so that, you know, the rest of her life, she's not tied down to someone who is basically a robot. So she refuses and she kind of turns away and, you know, ignores him. But he's like kind of following her everywhere she goes and trying to convince her that she's going to live a great life and, you know, things like that. And then unknowingly, he falls in love with her. And now it's like his time to seduce her and to make sure that she knows his true feelings. But anyways, that is it for all the books that I have to recommend you that follow the specific trope. Hopefully you guys have added some books to your TBR. And I'll see you guys again next time in a new video. Bye.